Emotional, what does the Q stand for? Quotient. This is a relatively new philosophy, I would say. It certainly wasn't very popular among the traditionally masculine men. However, it is a fundamental part of a top-tier man's life. So cue the nice music. Let's discuss, gentlemen. Emotional intelligence is the understanding of emotions and the ability to control and navigate your own. It's almost the opposite of being emotional, because being emotional is kind of having little to no control over your emotions, no understanding of your emotions, no ability to navigate them. Philosophies like Stoicism are huge on emotional intelligence. EQ, I think, is quite overlooked within the general sort of manosphere, because I don't think it's as an attractive trait as like building muscle and, you know, making a ton of money. It isn't as attractive as a skill to develop, but you'll find that humans are very emotional creatures, and we feel and are motivated accordingly to our emotions. When we act accordingly to our emotions all the time, we don't get stuff done and we aren't consistent, because our emotions aren't consistent. They change constantly. They're very unpredictable at most times. Having an understanding over our emotions and having the ability to self-regulate allows us as humans to act non-accordingly to our emotions. So now our emotions and our motivation to act is pretty much separate. In sexier terms, EQ allows us to be more disciplined men. I'm sure you all understand the importance of discipline and the fact that you're not always going to feel like working, but you kind of have to. But you're also going to be in a lot more tough situations in your life. Not just waking up on the wrong side of the bed or, you know, spilling your coffee in the morning. I'm talking about devastating situations that take place in your life. You're going to have points in your life where you're going to have to work through that pain. And if you haven't spent the last few years leveling up your emotional intelligence, you're going to struggle even more. The higher IQ men make more money and achieve more goals because their persistency is far stronger. Emotional intelligence, as you can imagine, will also help in business ventures and promotional opportunities, because it really is just an improved psychological understanding that can be a huge tool to use when it comes to pleasing somebody or convincing them. Women are very attracted to a man with emotional intelligence, because when a man can control his feelings and act accordingly to rationale as opposed to how he feels, it's a great big green flag of stability for women. Stable women are attracted to stability. And so when a man is consistent in his actions, in his provision, in his mannerisms, the consistency is comfortable and it allows a woman to sort of rest and settle more back into a natural femininity. A man with the ability to control his emotions signifies to a woman that the relationship with him will be a lot healthier due to ample communication and his ability to understand her emotions, as well as much easier because situations would be resolved so much faster when the masculine in a dynamic has a better understanding of the psychology of both him and her currently. Relationships with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother can also only be benefited by you improving this skill, because believe it or not, they are also emotion-feeling human beings. You're able to better understand your parents and maybe why they treated you a certain way growing up, or better understand how they think currently. You're able to communicate with your younger sisters about their problem and be a strong masculine figure in their life. Understanding others' emotions paired with pure intentions makes you more attractive to your boss, your father, your mother, your co-workers, everybody. Friends will begin to admire you for your understanding of their problems and the empathy you have for them. Women will start imagining how much of an emotionally intelligent, strong masculine figure you'd be for their children. Which swiftly brings me to my next reason for the importance of EQ, which is leadership. But quickly before that, I actually, funny enough, I have a YouTube channel. And I think, now if I'm not mistaken, it's the one that you are currently watching on. Definitely consider supporting me with a like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of educational content, because I post videos just like this 3 times a week. If you're not sure right now, it's okay, I haven't got a gun to your head. Watch till the end of the video and then make your decision then. The biggest trait of a leader is reliability. And what is a trait of reliability? Consistency. And what is an aspect of consistency? Discipline. And what helps discipline? EQ. You want to be some sort of leader in something. You want to lead your community by teaching them a specific thing or providing a specific service for them. Not only this, but an emotionally intelligent man be a 10 times better father than, you know, your average Joe who never really took any notice in his ability to control his emotions over the years. He never really leveled it up. He only really made muscle and money. That's kind of all he did. I read a post earlier about a liberal family in America reacting to Trump being the next president-elect. I will try and find it, and I will try and put it on screen. But I remember the woman in the post saying that her husband was wailing and screaming and banging his head on the kitchen counters, whilst his 2 children, trans children, might I add, are crying, asking them if they're safe. I just remember thinking, and I still think, what a weak man. What an absolutely selfish prick to be traumatizing his children by harming himself in front of them and screaming and wailing like an insane person in front of them. You don't want to be anything like this man. If you want your children to grow up stable and healthy, you have to be their bedrock wall of a father. You have to be their beacon of comfort, the man that makes them feel safe and assures them that they'll be all right. Of course, the candidate that you didn't want to win isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. But, as I said earlier, you will experience incredibly tough situations in your life that maybe make you feel like banging your head against the wall. But when you're some sort of leader, whether it be a boss at a company or a father to 2 children, you have to be able to remain stable and controlled in those really tough moments. Because if there isn't somebody to stay strong and lead your family or your community out of the darkness, you will all just remain lost and insane. So I think now we can all agree that it's a pretty important aspect of a successful man, I think anyway. So how do we go about leveling it up? Something that's personally helped me become in control of my own emotions and have a better understanding of those around me is self-reflection journaling. It really does sound super cliche, but I really recommend this because it did help me a ton. What I usually do is after some sort of maybe negative situation takes place in my life, I sit down at my desk and I journal about specifically my behavior and the behavior of the people I loved. I constantly try and avoid copes and keep the gun pointed at myself the entire time, remaining very self-critical. When I've been in a tough situation and I've acted according to my emotions, for the most part, as humans, our brains cope with having done something wrong. And so when I specifically write it down and read it over, it sort of disallows that acknowledgement to be justified and move to the back of my brain. It allows consciousness over the mistake and the desire to avoid it next time. Another habit I do every single day is meditation. I meditate a few minutes every single morning, and then specifically before I'm about to go and do something or go somewhere that I know I want to be specifically present in. This is obviously another practice towards self-awareness, because I do believe that self-awareness is one of the 2 biggest parts of growing your EQ, along with self-regulation. So in order to help with specifically self-regulation, I rely on discipline. Most days I'll take a cold shower in the morning and then I'll do my hardest work straight after, regardless of how I feel. I also do other little uncomfortable things throughout the day to sort of challenge myself. Something like taking my headphones off in the gym so I have less stimulus, or trying to complete another task before I allow myself to eat. These little habits build discipline, which I then use to regulate my emotions in those tough times and stick to a rational train of thought. The last tip I can give you is studying emotional intelligence. Just like you would study a business model or a subject in school. Knowing ideologies and all of the specific psychological terms will allow you to communicate much better. Emotional intelligence is largely overlooked and very misunderstood, but hopefully, for those of you who have made it this far, you have a better understanding. I've been Ray, and don't bang your head on kitchen counters in front of your kids. It's just not cool, folks.